Hey everybody, welcome to Knitty Knotty Podcast episode 29. I am Vanessa Knitty Witch on Instagram and Knitty-Witch on Ravelry.
And I'm Diane. I am the Knotted Bag on Ravelry and Instagram and Etsy.
So lucky.
Did you're going to be reopening your shop at some point, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it okay to talk about that, or is it premature?
Sure. I was thinking about it, but I was
Okay.
like, I don't know if we should say something. So I will be reopening my shop, and it is Knitty Witch Shop on Etsy.
Right. Okay, cool. And what are you planning on having in the shop?
I plan on having stitch markers and some accessories. Like I want to get scissors in there and pom-poms and like different notions and stuff. So it'll be like a
stitch markers. The best.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love mine. Thank
you.
The only thing that I'm careful about now is like the shape of the markers, of the charms, because some of them will get caught in knitting. So I'm more careful about that, but I've never had like a snagging issue with them at all, ever.
Yeah.
Like they're the easiest, smoothest. I love them. You know, I'm a fan.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's jump in. Look, I'm wearing my little cardigan because I washed it. I didn't even really block it because I could tell right away that it had kind of grown. So I just shaped it out on a mat, and I'm really happy with it. I'm very happy with the length is good. The sleeve length is good. I'm very happy with this cardigan, and that
came out perfect.
Yeah, it's weird. This is like a very pointy thing, and I suspect that's because I added poof to it, but it's fine. I was like, oh, it's a little, not like I wanted it puffy, but I'd love to figure out how to have the poof, like stay up.
I see.
Instead of coming out.
Yeah.
And that's probably because I added, so that I have more short rows, so I have more bulk, but I'd like it to, do you know what I mean? Like that kind of.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. You want it to be up here.
Yeah, as opposed to this way. I'd like the poof to stand up. And I'm wondering if maybe that would have required increases on the sides instead of all bunched up at the top. But it's okay. Like I'll still wear it. I still love it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, like I don't know how to construct
I understand. So, I don't either. I haven't done a poof, so I can't help you on that one. I haven't done a poof.
I probably need to like practice, like maybe cast on like an armhole, if that makes sense, and then practice around that. Like maybe like cast on a tube, and then on that tube, like at some point start what would be the shoulder, and play around with short rows and increasing and stuff like that, and see if I can get that look that I'm looking for.
You got that pattern that I sent you. I don't even remember what it was, but the one with the poofy shoulders. Oh goodness.
I don't remember that.
I'll have to look for it. I sent you a picture of this pattern that had like really poofy sleeves.
Oh, I must have seen it then. I'll have to look again in our messages because I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of different poofy ones, but they all have kind of the same. Again, I might have like screwed this up by adding more, and then, by adding more stitches, more increases, I added more stitches, which means you're going to have the short rows are going to be more.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's fine. See, it kind of flattens out. It's good.
It's more than fine. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so what, and do you want me to start? Do you have any finished objects? I mean, I'm cheating. This was previously finished.
No. Okay. No, I don't have anything. Oh my God, I am actually so stupid. You did
finish.
I did finish something. Hold on, pause real quick.
Okay. You forgot to bring it. Okay. Hi,
Okay.
Vanessa.
Okay, I'm back. All right, so I do have a finished object, and it is my rainbow virus blanket. So let me back
Yeah, you
up.
do. That is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. She loves it, Brenna. She is 9, so it's the perfect size for her. It's a little small for me. It's more like a throw,
Right.
but I ran
I
out of
mean, it would
yarn,
cover
so
your legs like on the couch, but it not
right.
like
But it
a,
wouldn't
yeah.
cover like the top and the bottom of you. Like you're not getting that
Yeah.
much out of
No,
it.
well, it is a square. That's the problem with the square
hmm
shape. Yeah.
Yeah, it does go end up being square, but I
Yeah.
ran out of yarn, so I was like, she's 9. It's enough.
Oh, yeah. And she loves it, which is important. So that's amazing. So do you remember what, oh yeah, it was called the virus blanket, right?
Yeah, it's called the virus blanket, and there's a couple different like tutorials on it, but the one I used is by Jonna Martinez, Jonna, and that's the one that I like. I mean, she goes through it with you row by row, and
Right.
even if you don't know how to crochet, if you can just figure out the double crochet the way she shows you, you can just follow the tutorial,
Right.
and it's free on YouTube. So I would suggest it. I would say it's like a beginner's pattern.
Oh, that's great. Very
hmm
good.
Yeah, and I used
Yay.
it was Caron Big Cakes, which is a worsted weight. So I used a size 5 millimeter hook, which is a USH.
Yeah. And you
So
used 4 cakes, I think, right? You
yeah,
said?
and they were
Yeah.
600 yards each.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
good. Very good.
so I did finish something. Yay!
Yay. Um, I have been working on, so I did some spinning yesterday, and let me move this fiber over. I'm still working on my pink sweater. I can't remember the name of it.
It is Blanche.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm almost done. I am at, I don't know where I was at last time we recorded, I would probably at the first sleeve. So
Oh wow.
here it
Look at it
is.
coming along.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I've got the sleeve is done. Again, not doing the decreasing on the sleeve. And I'm a little surprised that I have enough yarn for this sweater because I had 5 skeins of this. This is from like 2012, 13, something like that. Like this is old yarn.
Vintage
And
yarn.
yeah. And I think for the longest time, I thought I might do like a child's thing. And then, yeah, I was going to knit something for my niece. So this is a long time ago. And I didn't. And then I was going through my yarn and I thought, well, maybe I can knit a sweater, but I didn't think I'd have enough. And surprisingly, I do, because I only had 5 skeins of DK. I'm surprised anyway. So there we go.
It looks so good, and you're almost done.
I'm almost done. I got short circulars to do the sleeves because when I was doing the last one, I don't know if we talked about it or not, but I had 10-inch addies that have a longer tip, and I loved that. Was super easy for me to knit. It was this one, I think. I was working on, and there's no ladder, where because when I usually do magic loop, and then I get like a bit of a ladder along the between the 2 needles, like the join or whatever you want to call it on the sleeve. And I don't like that. And I liked how fast I was knitting on this small circulars, but the store that had those, she didn't have this size. This is a
I
4
see.
millimeter, so a size 6. And she didn't have the 10-inch. And they're not common. I've Googled the crap out of that, and I can't seem to find 10-inch addies other than like their website. It's very
Yeah,
bizarre.
they're
It's
not
like
very
9 or
common.
12. But the 10s for me are perfect because they're just a little longer than this. Now this is a lot more challenging to hold.
Yeah, it is.
And I knit with my right hand. And so normally the way I knit is I have to hold this needle and then I have this hand finger out. So kind of like left-handers. I never remember what's English and continental, so just gonna say it that way. And then and wrap. So I'm not like a thrower. I don't have to like move my hand off.
Yeah.
But with these wee needles, it's so hard to do it. So I end up having to move my hand more, right? So I kind of do this.
I wonder if
So it's
whether
fine.
you, sorry.
No, go on.
I wonder if whether you knit English or continental matters with the 9 inches, how comfortable they are to knit with. I wonder if that makes a difference.
I don't know, but I'm not going to be able to switch. I've tried and
no,
I can't.
I understand.
So I just got to make this work, and I'm determined to make this work because I like I like not having the line going down the sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that bad. I'm getting used to it. I just have to, sometimes I get like, I end up being like this and then it hurts my elbows. So I have to just always be conscious of how I'm moving.
Yeah.
Hurt myself. So that's the first thing I'm working on. Do you want to talk about something, or do you want me to go through my stuff?
No, you go ahead and go through.
Okay. So I think I talked about this last time, right? It's hard to remember what we talk about, you and me, and what we talk about in the podcast.
I know.
So I started this Camaro. This is my second with hand spun. So this is, oh, the color is not very good. Oh.
Still really pretty. I could see it. The
really
blues and purples.
It's got green, blue, pinks. So the color is really not showing up very well. And they're very bright colors. This was from Knitty in Color. And it was Ultralight at Night.
I like it.
Yeah.
I love her. Sarah's awesome.
This was fiber that I got a long time ago. I think when I started spinning, because I had only gotten one braid and normally I get 2. And also, yeah, it is in my beginning spinning, because eventually I started like spinning always fingering weight, and this is more of a DK, and it kind of like thick and thin, not super consistent. And so again, ended up with like a small amount of yarn, not enough to do a whole garment. So what I did is I had one skein of it's sandness, I don't know how they say this, sandness garn. I don't know if that's German but it's SANDNES garn is the brand, and they have a lot of alpaca, and they have this yarn called alpaca, ALPAKKA. My son is laughing at me again. And so ages and ages ago, I had like already realized, okay, this is DK, and it's a little thicker maybe, and I had picked up a skein to match because I was going to knit a shawl, and I found a shawl called, I think it's 22 Little Clouds by Martina Bem, that I was going to knit with this, and then I never did. And now that I'm all about the sweaters, I wanted a sweater. So I started this, and then I looked up the black yarn and saw that it's still available. It's not discontinued. And my local store where I got this still had it. I'm like, great, I'm going to knit it up, make sure it works, and then I'll get the rest of the black that I need, right? Because I like this. I think this is pretty cool. So
no, I think it's beautiful.
And the sleeves will be black. And I just did, this doesn't have like a finished edge. It's just a rolled edge. So I started it on black because I also didn't want to waste any of my precious hand spun. So I cast on in black and did 1 row in black just to have that black edge.
Yeah.
And so my LYS, well, you know this already, but my LYS, I ordered online because here the stores have closed down again. Don't get me started. So I ordered online, and on a Saturday, I was like, I guess last weekend, I was going towards their area of town. So I called and I said, like, I had bought them on Thursday, and I said, like, where I haven't heard anything, is my order ready to pick up, because I'm going in your neighborhood and I would like to pick it up. And they called me back and they're like, well, we don't have all the skeins you need. We only have one. Did you want to go ahead with the one? No. Like, that's not enough. Anyway, I was not happy, and I was kind to the lady because I said, I know it's not your fault, and she's like, I'm so sorry, like, we're not happy either. Like, because it let me, their website is obviously not up to date with what they've got in stock or not, and then B, you didn't call me to tell me you didn't have it. You just let me sit there until I called. It just drove me nuts. So I canceled the order, and I found the yarn on another website in my province, like on another store, and it showed up yesterday.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Very happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, they should have called you.
Yeah, it was annoying, but whatever. I found it elsewhere.
At least you got it
now. Exactly.
At least you got
That's
it.
what matters. Now I got it. So now I've started knitting around and around and around. We have to talk about, before we end the podcast, we've got to talk about that trick you found for tying in the ends.
Oh,
because I'm doing that now, so I want us to talk about that a little bit. And then, so why don't you talk about your stuff? I'm really distracted by the fact that I did makeup and it looks like I have no eyelashes. Clearly, I'm not a makeup artist for video. Do you want to talk about your stuff, and then I'll talk about my other thing?
Yeah, go. I'm laughing because the funny thing is I am a makeup artist, but here I am
with no makeup on.
With no makeup on. That's because I do it for a living. I don't want to put it on right now.
I haven't put makeup on in a week. It was just an excuse to do it. Really.
So I have where is the top of this? So I have made tons of progress on my sugar coated. So
yes,
let me hold on.
Where's the arms?
Where's the arms? There we go.
I love it.
Okay,
so gosh, it's so drapey and amazing.
So I'm actually, where's my needles? I'm in the middle of a row, so it's not going to show you like how far, but I'm way down there. It's 20 inches. Good. When it all is said and done. So yeah, I have sleeves left to do. I love the detail. So I have a couple things to say about the sweater.
I have some things to say.
So I don't know if you could see that edging, but it's got this
like the little holes,
like seed stitch, and then a couple rows of garter, but it has the slip stitch edge, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Right.
But because of that slip stitch edge, I couldn't or didn't want to join new skeins of yarn at the edge because it would have messed up the way that I change colors or yarns. Right. It would have messed up because I like to hold it double and weave it in.
I got it. Yeah.
So I've been changing yarns in the middle of the sweater.
Okay.
And I know that that's like a huge no-no for everyone, is to not change in the middle because I
do it all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, I do it wherever my ball ends. I don't want to have to
because I know that people say that you're like,
I've never had an issue with it because I either will double up my yarn. So when I get to a point like that, I'm sure I've done it here on this sweater. I never notice it. If I get to a place where I have to not necessarily color change, but like ball change, I'll knit with both ends for 5 to 8 stitches. That's usually what I do. I've never noticed that. I mean, if you did it on top of each other, then maybe, but I've never, ever noticed that being an issue.
Okay, because I know that it's there's a couple like knitters etiquette type things. One of them is you don't change yarn, you change yarn at the beginning of the row, not in the middle. And the other one is that you what's the other thing I was just gonna say?
No, I'm more like, don't waste your yarn.
Yeah.
like, because then you've got to figure out, do I have enough yarn to finish this row? I have to do that. Like sometimes you have to do that for, I'm okay to do that if I'm like finishing off, like basting.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're knitting a big piece
Oh,
like that and you've got to figure out, wait, do I have enough yarn to go around or to do another row? That's a kind of, I don't know,
I mean, that's how I've been
too
doing
much
it
work
this
for
whole
me.
time. And then the other thing is that you don't, when you're knitting, you don't stop in the middle of the row. I stop in the middle of the row all the time.
No, me
I stop
too.
in the middle of the row, I pull my needles, and I'm just like done.
Yeah, me too.
So we're just a bunch of rebel rule breakers.
No, I think, no, I don't think those are real rules. I think those are choices and preferences.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I was like, I hope this doesn't unravel because I had to change. I had so many like little balls of yarn because when we were winding it, the way that Malabrigo tied up their skein, their hank, was a nightmare. And it was
Right.
tangled on my Swift. We got it all me and Brandon, my boyfriend, was helping me because every time I touch yarn, it knots. So Brandon was helping me, and it ended up being like there was like a cut mark, like where it was like the yarn was cut, and then the one skein ended up into like three skeins. So I had like a lot of little balls to work with, and this is a 20-inch sweater and it's a coat and it's hooded, and I need as much yarn
All
as
the
humanly
yarn. Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't be wasting yarn. So I was changing balls in the middle of the rows, and I was freaking out about it a little bit.
I've never had a problem with that. As long as your yarn is well, um,
Secured.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about that in a minute because we'll talk about that trick that you sent me. Do you have anything else? What
Oh,
happened? What happened with your
what? Oh my goodness. Let me show
so
you.
Vanessa texted me this morning and she says, "Are you up? I'm so upset. I'm about to like burn this thing." Like what happened?
7 o'clock in the morning. I'm
You
like,
were practically crying.
I was. I told Brandon when he
I
woke up this
totally
morning.
understand. I
I was like, I
understand.
almost cried.
Okay, so
I
this is
almost
the, are you working on anything else? So you finished your blanket, you're working on your
sugar
hoodie,
coated. No, I'm
and
not working
then,
on anything else.
okay, your palm to pin. Oh my
So here's
goodness.
the palm the
This,
pin.
I feel like you gotta finish this thing or frog it and burn that pattern. And I don't
I am
want you
not.
to
I
ever
know.
talk about it ever again. We're not allowed to
Well,
re-knit it. You're not allowed to try it again. You got to take that yarn and knit something else that's fun. Like you can't. This pattern is your curse.
I'm not gonna frog it, but I realized. So what I did
Okay.
was, okay. So there's a back panel,
Yes.
and then there's the two side panels, and it comes up to form the neck. That's why these are so long, is because it binds together here, and it's a collar that goes
Okay.
around your neck. So what I did was I mixed up my right panel and my left panel, and I used the instructions for the left side for the right side and the right side for the left side. So what that did was you bind off these stitches here, and they're supposed to attach, because I've done this before. It's supposed to, I'm twisting this so you can
Yeah.
see. So this is on the outside. The bound off stitches are on the outside. They should be in the inside because it should connect to the back, and then the collar gets sewn down this way.
Okay.
But I didn't do that.
I don't understand it, but are the panels, did you knit the panels one at a time and then put them together? You can't,
So you knit
or is it all
each
knitted
side
as one piece?
one piece. Well, no, this is knitted
Oh, okay. So you
separately.
knitted the whole body and then those panels you knit.
You separate, yeah. You knit the whole body, and
Oh
then
my gosh. So if you want to finish this, you've got to tink it back to the separation.
I have
And
to
then
for
you're
the
going to have an
separation. Yep.
issue. Then you're going to have an issue with following the pattern
Yes.
and finding where you are.
Yes.
and picking up all of those stitches.
Yes,
It's doable.
it is doable.
It's not as bad as I thought. It's still
Well,
bad.
when
I get it, but
when I called you, I was freaking out because I couldn't figure out, like, I was just in a moment. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. Like, how am I going to do this? It's lace and now we're going to pull it out and it's going to get messed up. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, Vanessa, you can do this.
no,
like,
you can totally do it.
it.
I personally, I would tink it. Like I would pull the yarn, right? Until I get really close to that, wherever that space is where it changes from left to right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then go there and then just start sticking your needle in and then you undo the stitches one by one.
Yeah, that's what
have
I'm
them
gonna
like
have to
sitting
do.
well. And yeah, you've got to do that when you're patient and this is like, okay, I know I have to do this now. I'm going to do this.
I'm usually really good about it in the morning. Like in the morning, my brain is like ready to compute and it's like ready to go. And that's when I have to do it.
Which is why you were starting to work on it.
Yes, which is why, because we're doing this thing with the Knitty Knotty, not, I keep calling her the Knitty Knotty podcast because we're the Knitty Knotty podcast, but the Love and Stitches podcast, she's doing a Make 30 for 30. I think I've mentioned it before, where you work on something for 30 minutes a day for 30 days. And that was going to be my Make 30.
Right.
So I sat down to work my 30 minutes on my sweater and I just stared at it, aghast in awe.
So I will tell you, I consider that to be 30 because even though you didn't physically knit on it, you still worked on it.
I did for 30 minutes.
You picked it up, you looked at it, even figuring out there's a problem and then like problem solving it. You're still working on it.
That's true.
That's how I see it. And now you're ready. If you have a plan, and then the next time you're in the mood for it, then you know what you've got to do.
Yes. And I figured out where I messed up. Yes. Today was just traumatic. Yeah. So I figured out where I messed up and what I need to do to fix it, which was like the first half hour. I was like, I don't know what to do to fix this. Like, how am I going to do this? And then once I was like, stop. Get your shit together. Stop. And then I was like, all right, tomorrow.
It's funny because you have your earbuds, it makes this weird noise when you do it. It makes like this weird pop, like this wet pop. Sorry. All right. So well, I'm glad you have it under control.
Yeah. So what I did do though was for the Make 30 for 30, I started another virus blanket. So here we are.
Oh, okay.
That's all I got so far. So we got another one. So out of Lion Brand Mandala.
Nice.
So now I have another little blanket going. This is mindless. I like having
the mandala. Remind me, because you hooked me onto that. I can't remember. The mandala is worsted or DK?
It's DK.
Right. It is looking a little smaller. Yeah.
And I'm so much happier with it than I am the Caron because it's soft. It almost feels like wool, even though it's acrylic.
The other one looks stiffer.
It's stiff and it's crunchy.
Yeah.
But she likes it.
Yeah. So. And you can throw it in the wash and
it'll soften up over time. It's just the initial.
Yeah. So you're doing the same pattern, you're gonna end up with a square again. So you're gonna make it bigger.
I bought 8 skeins.
Okay.
To start with.
But it's DK.
Yes.
So you would need more in order to get that size anyway. But yeah, you're gonna have to make it a bigger square though, unless you want it just to be a lap blanket, right?
I still want it to be, it's still gonna be like I would be happy with it if it was a large couch blanket.
Right.
Like if I could get it to come up here and then cover I'm only 5'3". So if I could get it to come like, if I'm sitting and I'm holding it to cover the top of me and then to cover my legs, then I'll be fine.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah.
So that'll be fun. You like that project, so that'll be a fun project.
I mean, I like it in the beginning when it's like short rows, but once it starts getting where like one row takes you 45 minutes, then I'm like, ugh.
Right. And also then, so what's your plan? Like, how do you remember where you're at on the blanket? Because that's not something where you can just finish when at the end of the row.
No, it is. You can, because the pattern is so repetitive. Like the pattern is so repetitive and easy to pick up that you can stop in the middle of the row and be fine.
That's what I was saying. So
Yeah.
So you can easily know where you were and
yeah, it's not a problem. So I'm going to be working on this instead of, I should be working on my scrappy stuff, but I don't want to.
Says who? Yourself. I
No, but
should.
I know, but you know what happens is I put another square here. Actually, that I guess that counts as
You
a
said
width,
you wanted to put your Christmas square in.
which is what I did.
Good.
So I put my Christmas square in. I finished these 2 squares actually. And there's my Christmas square. This is the same yarn I used for my Christmas socks. So that is 4 years and counting.
There you go.
4 years of working on the scrappy blanket, and I have 2 rows to show for it. But you know
I
what?
like those blankets.
Enjoy it.
I've never started one. I like them. And it would probably be more fun than having like a million tiny squares to connect together.
Well, you know what? All right. So do you remember Craftsy?
Yeah.
Craftsy is back.
Yes, I saw that. And they have a crochet thing, right?
And they have seamless crochet joining. So I think that I'm going to watch that video. I signed up for it, and I think I'm going to watch that video. And what I might have to do is from now on start, like picking up the stitches and meshing them together. And then all of the little squares that I've already done that are just like chilling on their own, I'm going to have to manually like hand sew them to the blanket.
Let me know what the video's like. I'm interested because I don't have very many squares done.
I just tagged a friend of mine in Facebook on their post because so Craftsy, now that they're back, you can buy all their classes a la carte, or you can sign up for a premium membership and get access to all the classes for $80 a year, which is a good deal. But they're offering your first year for $5.
Oh, that's what I saw. I saw that in my Facebook feed as well.
Yeah, so
I've only ever gotten one class from there, and it was my weaving class.
I have 4 classes from them. I have the spinning dyed fibers with Felicia Lowe from Sweet Georgia Yarns. That is an amazing class. Like that one was really good. I have a photography one that helped me use my camera that I bought. I have a few of them. I would say personally, it's not going to take me, unless they add more classes, it's not going to take me a year to watch all these classes. So I don't see myself going beyond the year. But for now,
you're saying, you're saying you would get the first year, or as long as you're not locked into a second year, I guess.
You're not locked in, but you do have to remember to cancel before it re-ups.
Right.
Yeah. Which
re-ups.
I said, yeah, it re-ups. That's like a military thing. I noticed that there's a lot of things that we said in the military that people don't say in the outside world. And sometimes I'll talk and people will be like, what did you just say? And I'm like, we're in the minutes. What do you mean? So we're in the minutes. I explained this to someone too. We're in the minutes.
You explained it to me.
You have an hour left. Yes.
Yes.
You have less than an hour and you only have minutes to go on the clock. You're in the minutes.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, another thing is that we don't say is like when you're going to train someone to do the job, because you're always training people, you say you're going to get them spun up. Like, come on, I'm going to get you spun up. And that's something, I guess that's not a civilian term.
No, I don't think it is. But it fits your fiber life.
Yeah. So anyways, that was just a tangent, but yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so crafty. I would recommend it for the $5 for the first year, but as far as recommending it further than that, I'm not sure.
Cancel it before it renews.
Yes, before it renews.
I love it.
Oh, I gotta start mine.
Okay, so we talked about trying 2 socks at a time. And my go-to pattern is Wendy Knits toe up socks with a difference. I've always used that pattern. And I think the only time I did another pattern, it was a Wendy Knits pattern. I had gotten, I might have her book, but I did get the box with the cards of different patterns for
I
her.
have that too.
It's great. I don't even know where it is, right? Well, no, I know where it is. I can't
Yeah,
reach it.
I was just looking at my bookshelf. I was looking for a book and I was like, oh, this is hiding back here. My little box of toe up
Yeah, and I
sock
had
cards.
knitted a pair of socks, lace socks for my mom, and she still wears them. She just loves them. She takes really good care of them because she also has knitted, so she understands. And these are her nighttime socks, and yeah, she.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so this are my go-to pattern, and I did find a video. Oh my gosh, there was a night where I was like looking on YouTube for videos for how to do this because I thought I knew, but I wanted to make sure. Uh, because when people start from the edge, the ribbing, I think it's like you cast on one side, then cast on your other one. But because with toe up socks, you're doing the toes. It's not, you can't just cast on one side. If you're doing Judy's Magic Cast On, you're doing both needles. Anyway, I found a video that I'm very happy confirmed what I thought. Just do it once and then do it a second time right after. But her video was like explaining the whole sock knitting experience. And I was like, oh my God, I just need this one detail.
I know.
Do
I
you know
always
what I mean?
fast
I was
forward.
like,
I'm always
no,
like,
I don't need the whole pattern. Just where do you get? Anyway, so confirmed. Uh, and so I have, I remember I used to knit socks on 2.25 millimeter. And I have the needle that I've used for that, but it's too short, I feel, to do 2 at a time. And so I have this 2 millimeter one. That's a 60-inch, 100 centimeter needle. So it is long enough, but it's almost too long because sometimes when I'm moving the needle, this gets in the way. It's almost
yeah,
too long. It's
it
fine.
is really long.
I'm more concerned with, I think 2 millimeter is a little too small for me. Like I really need to be with the 2.25. Having said that, I'm not gonna take these off the needles. I'll just keep knitting. I'm off by 1 stitch. So it's like my gauge is too small by 1 stitch, lengthwise and like row wise and stitch
Yeah,
wise.
you're getting 9 stitches per inch instead of 8 stitches per inch.
Yes, exactly. So on a 4-inch thing, on 4 inches or on the length of the sock, it'll make a difference, I guess. But I don't think it'll make a huge difference. So hopefully
It'll
it
be,
won't.
yeah, you'll have to knit more rows.
Well, and the pattern doesn't say to knit more rows. It says to knit until you're an inch or whatever away from the length of your foot, and then
Yeah.
you do the heel. So it was very fiddly at first, but now I've gotten really used to it. Now, at one point, I did knit the second sock with the first yarn, and I had to go back. So I went around and I was like, wait a minute, what's happening?
I can see me doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say just be careful for that. But once you get into the once I'm past the point of the toes, I got used to it. I think it's also like just figuring out for yourself, I would say. Are you like when I load these on my needle, I load both of them on together. But you could also like hang back, I guess. But once you get to this point where you're switching socks, I find it easier to have them really close. So I've gotten used to it. At the beginning, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever do this again. Maybe I would just get 2 needles and just two. I saw somebody online say that she knits her socks the two of them at the same time, but on separate needles. So she'll knit like an inch on one and then an inch on another. So I thought, oh, maybe I would just do that, but I'm getting used to it. And what I said to you was, it's the thing that's you have to get used to, or that I have to get used to, is you're knitting, and you're not getting very far. It seems weird, but it's because you're doing both. So I think the payoff at the end to like cast off and have both done that'll be like a rush.
Well,
That'll be amazing. And
I'm
these are
still,
knit
like,
picks. I just wanted to say these are knit picks.
oh, sorry.
I don't even know. So I'm really bad at like this whole, oh, here we go. Knit picks Felici Rainbow.
Love it.
From, again, like a long time ago. I think I bought knit picks once. So anyway, that's it.
I love it.
You were going to say, I'm sorry, interrupted.
I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot
Oh,
what I was
and
gonna say.
I've just been leaving these. They're not really getting tangled up. And I've just been leaving them out, but I did start with them in one of my bags because, I saw these. But basically, when you're doing color work, or you have two different balls or even three, you can just put them through the handle of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put the other one in the other handle.
Perfect.
And then when they get twisted, you just turn the bag.
Oh, that's smart.
And they untwist. And if you had a third one, you would just put the third one in here. And so it keeps the yarns separated.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have a bag from okay, I think it's called Studio in the Green. Michelle. She makes a sock sack that has the divider in it, and it's like two sides, so you put like one on one side, one on the other. So I'm going to use that one.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it. I was like, oh, I could use this again. I haven't used it in years.
Yeah. So yeah, you literally just like you do your Judy's Magic Pass cast on, leave that, take your second ball and do the same with the it's fine. You just have to focus.
I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
I still cannot figure out how, when I knit my last pair of socks, the Christmas socks, and I did them one after the other, how one of them is bigger than the other. So this is why that's never happened to me before. I've been using 9-inch circs forever, and I knit them one after the other. So there's no reason why my gauge should have changed so drastically, but it did. So this is what I'm hoping with the 2 at a time. Yeah. That, if my gauge changes, it's going to be the same for both socks, and both socks are going to be the same. So I'm excited about trying this.
Yeah. So, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So we were talking about, you sent me a link to a Stephen West video.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about you talked about all your stuff. Okay.
Yep.
So, for weaving in ends, he has this cool trick where if we do notes, or maybe you can just link that video to the
I'll link it. Yeah.
So anyway, when you start a new ball of yarn, you take the tail and wherever you are in your sweater, and then you basically like just wrap the tail once around your working yarn. So for like, I don't know, I think he says like 5 to 10 stitches, right? So
he said 8. Yeah.
Right. You would, take your tail, wrap it around, and you can wrap both, or you can also just do one, and then when you get there again on the next row, you can take the second one and do it. So
he calls it the Weavin' Steven.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's actually a really good idea, and it's not much different than because I was just thinking of that when we were talking about it earlier, it's not, and I've tried it since you've shown it to me, and it's really, it is a really good idea and it works really well. But it's not much different from just like knitting with both tails. Like if
I think that knitting with both tails is actually more secure.
what I mean is if I'm knitting, I would continue, like let's say you're just joining two balls, right? The same color, it's not like a different color. And so I'm starting with my new yarn. I will also pick up the tail of the old one and knit with that. So then you're getting a double thread. So that will show up in your knitting. Okay,
Well,
as I'm talking about it, I'm seeing the difference.
But I do it anyway, because if you pull tight on the back side and pull it tight enough, it'll take that double stitch and it'll pull it into like one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never done that. I just like knit with the two. But I'm realizing as I'm talking about it that that's the difference between doing it that way and doing it the way he does it.
Yeah, the way he does it,
He's
you
still,
don't get that double stitch.
No, you're still knitting. Yeah. And you can still pull on it to secure it. Yeah, I'm curious because I want to see how it behaves when the sweater's done. Like I might still
I'm
weave in
still
the
gonna weave it
ends.
in. I'm still gonna weave in the ends because I weave in my ends like a crazy person.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
I go like up and down and then back and then down and then like around.
Do you, when you do, so I usually will like, I'll go and you skip a stitch, right? You kind of, yeah, you literally like weave in and out and in and out, right? The stitches. And then when you go back down, I always pull my knitting to make sure it's not going to end up pulling and blocking, right? Because if you're pulling it as you go and then you turn and you go back down and you go back down and then it doesn't want to move because you haven't left that wiggle room for when it gets stretched.
Yeah.
So I always stretch it as I'm weaving it to make sure, it will.
That's smart too. I should do that.
Because otherwise my concern would be that it's going to get like jacked up when you're trying to pull it. So the only other concern I had with his technique is when I'm joining yarn like that, you get a little hole, right? So I usually, in those cases, will take my yarn and weave it in the way the yarn would have gone if it had continued.
Right. I do that too.
So I start off with that, and then the other way I do it that way so that it doesn't have a hole at all. But with the way he does it, you're going the same way with both ends. Right? So if you do if you do whichever tail on the first row, and then the second row, you grab the other tail and you do his technique, you don't have one going the other way, which is another thing I was thinking about. It's like, I don't know.
I think it's brilliant. Like, even if I'm still gonna secure my ends, just that someone came up with like a technique like that is just really, really, really brilliant. And I was also, this is probably why I'm not a pattern designer, but I was knitting the sugar coated sweater, and the way that she has you knit the pocket and the pocket lining on the same needles as you're working is like, how did she figure that out? It's just brilliant.
Right.
Like, I would have never figured that out. There's no way in a million years I'd have figured that out.
Right.
So props to pattern designers. Yeah. I'll pay all the monies for the pattern because you guys do a great job.
I had an issue with my hat that I designed, the one with the self-striping yarn. And somebody messaged me and was like, oh, I think there's a mistake here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, drop everything, because I know what it feels like when there's a mistake in a pattern. So I'm like, want to be responsive and try to fix this. And so I thought I fixed it, but in fixing it, I created another problem. So so I got another message from somebody and I was like, oh, okay. This is what happened with the first one, and when I did that, so now it's all sorted and everything. But yeah,
well, that's what pattern updates are for. No one's gonna get it I mean, like, it's very rare that someone's going to get it right the first time. We're all human. I am terrible at office work. Like, because I can read something over and over and over again and look for mistakes. And I'm like, no, it looks really good. Like, I've looked over it like 4 times and there'll be mistakes everywhere. Like,
yeah, but that's why you need people to review, like to go over your,
Yeah, that's why you have test knitters and stuff. And even sometimes stuff gets by, but I mean, we're human. It's gonna happen.
My chevron shawl, I wrote up the pattern and I sent it, somebody was gonna knit it, and then she ended up not, but she did knit enough of it to go over the pattern, because then it's a repeat.
Yeah.
She just didn't finish the project, which is fine. And then and she was like, because in the beginning I was counting stitches after every row, and then I realized I can't, because it becomes a repeat and you can't keep track of the stitches. So I had taken them off, but I left them on 1 or 2 lines. So she pointed that out to me. See, I didn't even like notice that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. I did work on my chevron shawl, by the way. I did do a few rows. I need to start weighing it now, because I don't have much left. This looks like a lot and it weighs like a lot, but my rows are super long. So it takes a lot of yarn.
Maybe that should be your make 30 for 30.
I know you said that to me, but it almost
Did
takes
I?
me 30. You did. And I did. I just don't, I'm not going to commit every day to, I could like 1 row a day.
If you're not into it, you're not into it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't follow those alongs.
Well, I like this along just because it's so like,
it's cool, though,
so
right?
low key. Yeah, I love it. It's very you. The colors are very you-y.
Not though.
They're 70s colors.
I like them, but I don't wear them.
Well, it's like me and my rainbows. Everything I knit's a rainbow, but I don't really necessarily wear rainbows.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's true, because I bought these colors to make a sweater. So I will wear them. Yeah. And this was loop bats.
Oh, I love loops.
That I had. This is why I like buying stuff in person. I had gotten them in one of her updates. Again, I was going to say decades ago. It feels like decades ago.
Close to it, yeah.
And then when I got them, I still like them, but they weren't really what I thought they were online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's not her fault. That's it's just hard to see.
What it is.
It's hard to see colors. But anyway, so I ended up spinning 2 loop bats together, and that was the baby.
Yeah. I wish she would do more loop bats. She hasn't really been doing it. She's been really focusing on her yin yang yarn.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have as many bumps as she normally does. Because I was buying bumps from her like left and right.
Yeah.
That's why I have
that sounds really bad.
I know. But I had an obsession. She's just so well carded.
No bumps. There's no bumps like a
personal problem.
No, I thought it was I thought that referenced like some kind of drug. No?
Oh yeah. No, yep, you're right.
I don't even know which.
I need a bump. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't even know what it's for.
I shouldn't have said that. I'm so inappropriate. I'm so inappropriate.
No, that's what she calls them.
Yeah.
Bad. Oh, I call them bats, but anyway, I agree. And maybe maybe she hasn't been doing them as much because of the
pandemic.
Like there's no shows. Maybe.
There's no shows, and also I know people are having a hard time getting supplies.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate.
All right.
But I hope she gets back to it. Oh, I have some acquisitions.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Seth, peux-tu arrêter de parler, s'il te plaît? Tu arrêtes de parler, s'il te plaît? Okay. Just talking to the cat when you distracting me. Okay, go on.
I love it when you speak French. When you speak the French.
Ooh la la. This French.
La la.
Oh, yeah, you said that to me the other day.
Okay. So let me
If you want to speak, you have to get on camera, Seth.
That'll keep him quiet. He's like, no, I'm not getting on the camera. All right. So acquisitions, because we know that I'm always freaking buying something. I can't help myself. I just love supporting everyone. You know, I feel like the one thing that is different with the knitting community as opposed to like maybe not even the knitting community, but like the Instagram community, it makes you really reachable. It makes the vendors really reachable. And you form relationships with like some of these sellers, not like close relationships, but you know, you interact with them and stuff. They're very interactive. And you have like, I have like a loyalty to them. You know, like when I see certain people post things, I'm like, okay, I'm going to support you. So,
and I want this thing.
And I want this thing. Yeah. So Chelsea Yarns had an update, and that's Christina. And she carries Katrinkles. And Katrinkles made these acrylic counters. They like one of them is 25, one of them is 50.
When you're counting, when you're casting
100.
On your stitches.
When you're casting on your stitches.
Amazing.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
That's the word of the day. Brilliant.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Love that.
So perfect to help
you
count.
it's rainbow.
And it's rainbow. And then I got these Pearl Smith freshwater pearl stitch markers.
Very sweet.
Aren't they pretty?
Yeah.
And they're freshwater pearls. So those are my stitch markers. And then I got from
I've decided from now on, I'm never buying stitch markers with little rings anymore, because then when I'm using like a 5mm needle, they're hard to move. Like there's no point. I'm just from now on going to get large rings.
Yeah, I only use the small ones on like smaller needles, like socks. And then I use the normal size ones for like everything else, because I'm with you. Like,
but I never need stitch markers for socks. So
I need one.
Right.
To mark the beginning of the round. That's
and
it.
You probably got 50.
I have a gajillion. So my I forgot to show my Pampa bag. My Hobby and Co bag came in. This is one of their Pampa bucket
I thought
bags.
you said Hoey and Ho. It's like, oh no, it's Hoey and Co.
So it's pretty roomy. I would say it's a look at Pixel. It's a little
not supposed to be up there. He's like a mountain goat.
So I got that. That's the Pampa bag.
Are you okay?
Is he okay?
Pixel. He's got to learn. Oh my, like, give me a second. I got to fix this angel. Okay, I'm going to pause. The angel's going to fall. Okay, we're back.
Crisis averted.
The cat.
The freaking boomerang cat over here.
He really, one, he jumped off from here onto there and didn't make it. He was hanging it by his front paws and then he fell down. This is not his first time falling off of this thing. But then I had to stop because one of my angels there was like pushed over
off the shelf.
I didn't want it to fall. Yeah. This cat,
I can't be
man.
having that.
Yesterday he was in the bedroom and one of the bureaus he slipped and he was like hanging on with his front paws again and back of the dresser, and then he managed to get back up. But
cats are so funny. That's why I don't have cats, because I've had a cat before and the cat was so whatever the opposite of agile is, like
clumsy,
completely clumsy. He would jump up on a shelf and his butt wouldn't make it, and he would like swipe everything off the shelf with his butt, and all sorts of craziness. So
our previous cat, our cat who passed away, we used to laugh because he was clumsy, like, and he would not land on his feet like a normal cat. Like, I've seen him fall off the bed and just be like on his side.
Very uncat-like.
Yeah. What were we talking about though? I can't remember.
We were talking about stitch markers, and then
Oh yeah, your acquisitions. Yes. So we were talking about little versus big ones, because the big ones you can use on any needles. I don't think, and I've never had a problem with like working on a, let's say a 3 millimeter or 3.5 millimeter. Having a bigger stitch marker doesn't get in the way or interfere.
See, it bothers me because then it's like floppy, the stitch marker. But if I have to, I would rather have large ones than small ones because they're more versatile. Like if I had to choose between them, I'm always going to go big, baby.
Okay.
So, I went to HobbyLobby. I went to HobbyLobby for the first time. We just got one, so I was a little bit impressed with their yarn selection. They had their house brand, Yarn Bee, I think it is, was actually really nice. So I bought, this is Lion brand. It's a cotton blend, but it's a rainbow. No big surprise. And I bought this for this crochet pattern, that crochet hood thing that I'm gonna make. It's called, I can't remember what it's called, but so I'll show when I start that. So that's that. And then I couldn't.
Now that's stripes, right?
Yeah, that's stripes or
so it's
probably stripes.
Okay.
Probably stripes.
Yeah, it looks like it. So how is that going to work on your sweater?
Oh, it's not a sweater. It's going to be a cowl.
Oh, it's a cowl. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a cowl.
I just thought you were going to have the same issue as your.
No, I'm not. It's not going to be a sweater. It's going to be a cowl.
Okay.
And then I bought, so here's the Yarn Bee. Look at this.
Hey, I know where you live now, but where are you from? Are you from New York?
Yes.
Okay, I just heard it in your.
Did I?
I bought
it.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. I just went and I bought it. So, so they used to call me Jersey at work because if I get really mad, my accent comes out and they're like, "What are you from Jersey?" But I don't. This is like a roving.
That is beautiful.
It suggests you a size 19 needles. I don't even know if I have 19 needles.
Is that what, like a 10 millimeter?
It is 15 millimeter.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to make out of this. I just know that it was rainbow and I saw it and I was like, I have to have that. So I bought that.
You got one? You got one skein?
They only had one. I would have bought more, but they only had one left over.
Okay.
So I was a little disappointed. Then
that might have to be a hat.
I don't know. I'm going to go online on Ravelry and look it up and see what I can get out of it.
Yeah.
So, for the new year, Fate's thread is one of my favorite bag makers. I say that because not only are her bags good, but she's always stocked.
Wait, second favorite.
Second favorite. You're my favorite. But you know what I mean. Her bag or her shop is just always stocked. So if you need a bag, you're going to find one. Like if you go to, you know, it's not like you have to wait for an update or anything like that. Like if you need a bag, you go to her and she has something.
What's her name again?
Fate's thread.
Fate's thread.
Yeah, Fates, Fate's thread. And she did a sale. So this is the jumbo, one of her jumbo bags.
Oh, cool.
So I got a jumbo bag. It's little anchors, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the fabric, but she only had like 2 of these and she was having a sale and I really wanted one, and to be honest, it's cute. Like there's nothing wrong with it. So I think
that's interesting. What did you want it so badly that you bought a fabric you didn't love?
Because I don't understand. Because the size and the price. Okay. It was on sale and I couldn't beat it. It ended up coming down to like something like $30 for this huge bag. And that's just a really good price compared to everyone else's. And I there's nothing wrong. It's pretty. It's just I don't have an affinity to anchors.
Yeah.
But what I do have an affinity to is rainbows.
No, you don't. I don't know what you're talking about.
So this is her large size.
Okay.
So this is her large. The other one's a jumbo. So I got 2 bags from her. And then someone told me about this book, Casting Spells. And I will have to say that I'm absolutely in love with this book.
Wait, so you got that on Amazon and it was a used copy? Is that what happened? Because
Okay,
it's not in print anymore. I'm confused. I can't find it here.
You know why?
Why?
Okay, this kind of irked me a little bit, but this because I'm OCD. She redesigned them.
Right.
So this is the original print. This is the new print.
No, but that's still the second book. I can't find the first one. It doesn't matter what the cover looks like. I can't buy the first one.
They have the first one on Amazon. It's just I didn't buy it. It looks like this though. I'm gonna have to look.
I know, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna look at it right while we're doing this. I looked on Amazon for it. I could not get it, but there are things I can't get here.
Can you get it on Kindle?
I did get it on Kindle, but I forget to read. What's it called? Casting Spells, right?
Yeah.
And so watch it be there just to.
Well, the thing is, this one
Casting Spells. No, that's not. This is the Casting of Spells. Yeah, it's only available to me on Kindle.
Well, that's interesting because I thought it was only available on Kindle too, which is why I ended up getting this a used copy. And then I saw that they have the whole series in this cover. Like, so now I have, like, I'm collecting the series and now I have 2 different books, but that's okay.
So it's on Amazon.com, but not CA.
Well, that's disappointing. I don't want to recommend a book that no one can get, but it's definitely available in electronic form.
I'm looking right now on Amazon.com. Maybe because they can't deliver to Canada. Maybe. Oh, here it is. Here. Casting Spells. Paperback, $9.99. Oh, hardcover. I don't want a hardcover. Anyway, this is going to be a very boring. Oh, paperback. Okay, so it is available.
Yeah, she just changed the cover and everything. They changed the look of it. And
yeah, but what I'm telling you is it's on Amazon.com. It is not on Amazon.ca. And I was looking on Amazon.ca because now if I were to order it through .com, I would now be paying
American for it.
Shipping as well. So anyway, I got it on Kindle. So I figured with it on Kindle, if you're waiting in line at the grocery store or something, it's on your phone. It's easier. Yeah. It's more accessible.
So I'm a huge Kindle advocate because I have a funny story on how I got my first Kindle. My boyfriend at the time was watching Oprah. And Oprah released her favorite things, and the Kindle wasn't released to the public yet. And he watched that episode and was able to go and pre-order me one. So I was one of the first people to get the very first Kindles.
Oh, wow.
And I was so excited about it. And I went around and I was showing everyone and I was telling everyone, and they're like, that's stupid. And look where we are today.
Right.
The only reason I'm buying books instead of Kindle is because I am sharing them with people. Like, right. I have a friend here that reads also, and I'm always sharing. So that's why I ended up getting it in book form. And then another little book that I got. So I have.
And now, just in case somebody doesn't know, that with the Kindle app, you can have your stuff.
on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can have it on
Carry
your
around the Kindle.
iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's another series. It's by Maggie Sefton. It's Knit One, Kill Two.
Okay.
The first book. So I got the second one, which is Needled to Death.
Oh my gosh.
There is like 13 of these books.
Are they good? Did you start reading it?
I read the first one. I will say the first one is a little, I don't, okay. So I don't want to.
By the way, I'm totally paying attention. I'm knitting well.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy it. It was a little harder for me to read. And the only reason why is because I'm used to reading horror. And I'm used to reading fantasy. And this was a little more like
Murder
realistic.
mystery.
Murder mystery. It was a little more, it's a little murder mystery.
Yeah.
So so it was a little harder for me to get through, but I did enjoy it. But this is why I was so surprised with the casting spells, is because this book is really good.
I
Like,
know.
really good.
That's why I told you about it. And
well, I'm excited because there's like, she just wrote one in 2019.
And
so
back
she's
when
still considering, or she's still continuing the series.
Right. Back when I read it, I don't know that there were any other books.
Probably not.
And I had gotten it from my library. At the time, I was like, I think this might have been before I had Seth. I'm not sure. Or when he was a baby. But I remember pulling like all of the knitting fiction, you know, like, and so I got it in the library, and it's not even in the library anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost done with it. I'm excited to go on to the second one. So
That's a good reminder, though. I should read it. It is a good book. I did start reading it. I read a few pages.
you'll get into it.
Yeah. So for anybody who's curious, it's combines knitting and magical stuff.
It's a romance. It's a mystery. It's a murder mystery. It's a romance. It's got knitting. She talks about, I actually looked up a yarn. She talked about a yarn in here, and I was like, I have never heard of that yarn. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it's a yarn that like you can buy anywhere.
Right.
And I had never heard of it. And I was like, that was really cool. She talks about quiviet,
Quivet? I don't know.
quivet, like that a lot. All right, I'm done. I got nothing.
I should probably feed my child.
Okay.
He can feed himself, but he's being good and quiet while I'm recording. Also, we've been recording for like an hour and a half, I think.
Wow. Okay. Let me let you go.
Okay. Wait, was that all your acquisitions, or did you have other stuff, or?
I will say one last thing.
Okay.
I will say that the Crazy Sock Lady, Kay, keeps a knitting journal. And I've never done that before because I've always just put my projects up on Ravelry. And I was like, well, what's the point of having a knitting journal if you're using Ravelry?
Right.
But I'm finding that I really like the idea. So I picked up this book from my local yarn store. It's called you can't see it, but it says My Knitting Notes.
Okay.
It's by Lane. That company Lane.
I don't know that that's a company, but that is the French word for wool.
Okay, it's a company, but
Laine.
yeah.
Laine is
Laine.
wool in French.
Okay, so that's what it is. For the love of wool. And it's just full of here, let me show you a page. It's got, yarn, designer, what you used. You got a page here, and then you've got 2 blank pages between each one to write all your knitting notes.
Right. Well, that's good.
So I'm gonna attempt to start a knitting journal and see how I like it.
Yeah.
But I learned this thing on Facebook, and it's when you want to get off the phone with someone and they won't let you go, you say, I'm gonna let you go. I don't want to take any more of your time.
So passive aggressive. Yeah, like don't blame it on me.
Yeah, no.
I hate that stuff.
No. So I'm gonna let you go.
I'm gonna let you go because I want to.
I know. I won't keep you anymore. I won't keep you. All right. It was so nice chatting.
I know.
Talking to everyone.
We get like, we talk all the time, so we get blurry about like, wait, does this, do we talk about this on the podcast? It's just,
I'm okay with repeating. Yeah. It's okay if you repeat yourself.
Yeah. No, but I don't remember if I, like, did we talk about this because we talked about it like ourselves or because we talked about it on the podcast? That's where I get like, I get confused, but anyway, yeah, no, this is good. I'm, yeah, I've had a few days where I'm like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to work on, but I'm back at it today. It was a slow, because I spun yesterday and that helped. Because when I start
spinning this year,
you do your own crazy, right? Like I'm sure I'm not the only person who does this, where I start thinking, no, I know you do this too, where you start thinking like, I should be doing this and I want to work on that and I should work on that. And then you don't. And then you start like giving yourself anxiety about it.
Yeah, like guilt about it.
It's so stupid. Too. It's just like, it's just crafting.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
So anyway, all right.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you like this, subscribe. We'll see you around.
Subscribe, share. Yeah.
Subscribe, share. Thank you for hanging out with us. And as always, I love you, my friend. And I will see you later.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Bye.